What's up, everybody? I hope that you liked and subscribed already. If you haven't, go ahead and smash that like button. I'm going to be going deep on some more conspiracy theory, spiritual stuff. I think some of the ways that I'm going to try to get into it is maybe reading some of these Vera Stanley Alder books, Finding of the Third Eye, Wisdom and Practice. I've also got quite a few books from Jason Louv, including Hyperworlds, Underworlds, and the UltraCulture journal. Both these are excellent reads, and you can get them on Amazon.com. They are print on demand. Your book will be made the day that you order it. You'll know the day that you decided to change your life and wake the fuck up. And then another thing we might do is some tarot readings, maybe in this video. We will see. But first, I am going to start by reading the introduction to UltraCulture Journal. If you think this is what I should keep reading, go ahead and smash that like button to let me know. The most liked video is going to be what I read first. So we're going to do some introductions in this series. If you didn't hear, I read the introduction to Vera Stanley Alder's The Finding of the Third Eye, waking up to the fact that we're all gods, that sort of shit, during my interview in the last series where we use a DEA, or we use the AI on astrology.com to hack the DEA. It's super interesting. Anyway, here we go. By Jason Louv. This is the introduction. The very devil himself manifests as an angel of light. How easily are you fooled? Two acquaintances of mine, unconnected and out of the blue, recently asked me in all earnestness how I felt about Lucifer, as if they expected that I would be on a first-name basis with him. Maybe they think that I'm a good candidate to field questions like this because I've written a lot about the occult, and I once worked for a company with a devil's head for a logo, and I once ran around in public proclaiming myself a magician, mostly because I'm a smartass and I was curious about what would happen. I don't know. The first person who asked, I told to go to Times Square, New York, the best concrete demonstration I could think of as a false light from a false angel. The second person who asked got me on a less serious day, so I just made a horrible face and twisted up my hands into claws and chased her around the room, laughing. But I've thought a lot about it, and over the last couple of years, about what's true and what's just a distraction, a trick of the light. In the Middle Ages, the peasantry of Europe knew the devil was real. I'll wait for this car. See if the traffic picks up around here. Alexa, play Trafficking Business. Alexa, play Trafficking Business by Dave East and Millies. In the Middle Ages, the peasantry of Europe knew the devil was real. Maybe he hadn't figured out how to trick people into disbelieving in him yet. They heard him scratching in their hut walls in their houses before morning, sniffing for where the children lay, looking for any opening, any weakness. No metaphysical abstraction. They knew he was real. In our age, the beast has taken a erudite dwelling, but we can hear him still, his cracked nails scrabbling around our boundaries. He lives in the halls of power where they decide what village to bomb next, or what pharmaceuticals to keep out of circulation, or what human rights violation of the day will be given a blind eye in order to keep the markets running. He lives in 500 channels in one message that you are small and insignificant. He makes sure you get an education that cuts off your ability to think for yourself, and then he makes you work to feed him every weekday for the rest of your adult life. He can be quite charming, sympathetic. He tells you, come on, this is just the way things are, just go with the flow, and it'll all turn out in the end. After all, I like you, you're special, you're going places. He is an angel of light, a light bringer, and his specialty is illumination and enlightenment. Easy answers. Hard ones, even if it's more to your taste. Some cheap spirituality to fill you up for a week or two, or a lifetime. Just to keep you, from falling apart. He promises you special wisdom or special powers, or if you really hold out, maybe he'll promise you a way to end the suffering of others. He wants you to see the light. Now that's an interesting one. Certainly I'm as guilty as anybody after all. I got up in front of a crowd and shouted that love was the law and I saw the light through black magic. So I'm one to talk. But what is magic but a show, a grand distraction, a juggling act? Most magical systems are either sterile and ineffective or will quickly hand your sorry ass over to, quote, higher entities who will gladly use you as a pawn in their old and feeble games because you were too weak to plot your own destiny and tap your own innate magic. And perhaps if all the freaky coincidences, the pressing late-night God contacts, the psychedelic grandeur, the arcane theories, the frenetically assigned meetings, and the interstellar conspiracies, the greedily gathered flashes of insight and wisdom, perhaps, real as they can be, there's simply more stuff at the end of the day. Like the endlessly hypnotic light shows and entity communications users of DMT or Salvia Divinorum report. Put on enough of a show and that 10-minute trip will be over before you even notice that it's a light show, which is the true threshold, the true door of perception, let alone before you muster the bravery to go to the other side. And so it is with life, games within games and distractions within distractions. An angel of light, the light just out of the reach. An angel of light, the light just out of reach at the end of the tunnel that somehow grows longer with each step. So how do I feel about Lucifer? Not much these days. He's tedious and stale and not particularly intelligent. He only knows a few tricks. He kind of pops up out of the corner of your eye, waving a dead Iraqi kid in one hand and Paris Hilton in the other, and he hopes that you notice, and I just can't take him seriously anymore. It's our own collective fear of being alive, taken form and gone out to stalk the night. A waste, really. Nothing can trouble you but your own imagination. Nothing can trouble you but your own imagination. Sri Narasri Gata Maharaji wrote in that I Am That. Nisrati Gata worked selling beedis in the slums of Mumbai, and a lot of people also believed he was an awakened being. The beedi shtick certainly makes it seem plausible. Nothing to be scared of, just rolled up clothes under the bed, no monsters, and all the abusive governments and lurking terrorists, the horror scenarios, the secret torture chambers, the death squads, the evil spirits, the bad men in charge, and the men in black tapping your phone. It was just us casting shadow puppets on the wall all along. Yes, there is some lame stuff in the world, and yes, in all likelihood, there probably are 12 old men in a room somewhere, charting world politics in minute detail. But who says that you and your friends hanging out around a campfire for the weekend can't be just as effective? The biggest conspiracy, after all, is perpetrated by all of us when we agree to be afraid of each other, to separate ourselves into subgroups by belief and inclination. It's just stories, and do you really want to live in a story that a bunch of bankers came up with? Might work for them, but the only reason we have to live in it is because we've been too lazy to be that creative also. So pat Lucifer on his tiny little head and put him back in the toy box. Let's talk about real magic. Real magic happens when you drop the bullshit and remember that you're God, just like everybody else. No ritual required. So what are you doing? This is a very important question. Here's a few more. How do we make life on this planet sustainable? How do we make the options for human identity as wide as possible? How can we not only decrease suffering, but actually make people happy? I'm not directing these questions into the ether or to an invisible God. I'm praying directly to you. Because there are very important questions, and yes, there are silly questions. Here's one of them. Is God real? See, I know the answer to that with absolute certainty, and so do you. God is reading this right now. It's a wonderful thing to be alive in a body, conscious, honest, a being growing in the universe among friends doing the same. It's the best thing in the universe. And if it hurts sometimes, it's okay. Sit still and understand. Let your mind go out and expand. Sit still and be and breathe. Be. It's okay. There's nothing to be afraid of, really. Just let it go. We are God among God. There is no being you can meet from the lowest vibrations to the highest that is not God also and worthy of your respect. God is at play with God, a dazzling field of consciousness for you to remember yourself in. Now let others be. Leave them alone and go inside and remember who you are. There is nothing that cannot be undone and nothing that cannot be done. And when you stop trying to make decisions for others, stop trying to control them or save them, then they cannot make decisions for you, and then you're free to express your essence as you will. A dance, a play, a divine playground where children choose their games and their roles and their friends each day, pack them up at the end of the day, and then return to choose again the next. These are among the finest ways that our best artists and saints and the most awake people have chosen to express what it is to be alive, and this is what we're doing. Another friend who I love very much once told me his theory of history as a nightclub. Out in the streets, milling around the club, are all the people who don't really get it. All the people who've spent their lives trying to control others because they're terrified of their own vulnerability. And then there's the people in line. The people in line are hoping to be smiled on by the bouncer, who know that there's a party and they're trying their best to get in, and then you're in and the crowd is massive. On the edges you've got people talking to each other, getting sloshed at the bar, and they're in the club but they're not really participating. Then you get closer in, you get people dancing, meeting each other, having a good time, getting down to the serious business of party with a capital P, and they've kind of got it. And you get closer to the center. And then you've got people doing nothing but dancing and having fun, nothing else on their mind, and they have got it. And up by the stage, you've got some people who've absolutely lost their shit, and their hair's all out of whack, and their outfits have been messed up, and they're dancing like they're trying to hit escape velocity, and by God have they got it bad. And up on the stage, right in the center, the reason for the party is John Coltrane. And Mohandas Gandhi and Rumi and Martin Luther King and Nasri Gata and all the rest, and they are it, the best jam band in the world, and one you can only get by being a hollow tube to bring down fire from heaven. But with respect, I'll go in one better because it's not quite like that. Don't let the jam band on stage misdirect you as the best stage magicians do to distract your attention away from their hands for 1 second before they pull off something really good. Because all those people have got it, and deep down they are all it, even if they've chosen to play the muggers and the crack dealers hanging out in the alley behind the club in this lifetime, or even, dare I say, the bouncer. You need to have a bouncer to have a club, and he lets everyone who truly wants in to be in, but he only gives you a hard time if you give him one. No inside, no outside, no phenomena, no pneumonia. And everybody is exactly where they want to be. So leave everybody else alone. They'll get to the dance floor when they feel like it, and there's no pushing them. And figure out where you want to go and where you want to be, because it's only the 11th hour and we haven't even got to the main acts. So welcome to the party, and welcome to this first issue of the UltraCulture Journal, the periodical of choice for discerning divinities. Buddhists say your soul changes phase every 7 years, and biologists say that your body completely replaces its cells every 7 years too, but we aim to take the high road and get both done by the time you're done reading this first issue. You've been forewarned. Nothing will ever be the same again. This is the first of a planned 6-volume set. I figure I'll do one a year until 2012, which seems as arbitrary of a date as any to stop, and we'll see where this grand experiment takes us up till then, and whatever it is all mutated into by then, I suspect will be far bigger and weirder than any of us could have ever foreseen. This is where it gets really good. This is where we start to see who's committed. This is where we break out the real shit and let you take it for a test drive. So if you're ready for adult business like tea, sex, and waking up and saving the world, I'd say welcome to the party. And if you're still huffing the apocalypse like glue in a bag, may I suggest you sample some of the contents within these pages and rethink your drug of choice. Put your hand in the river that is time and meaning and language, and watch it all flow around you and turn through a space you forgot to see. Watch it bend around and respond to your touch and laugh that you have remembered to see it. Shaping. Anything can be made. Anything can be shaped. Love is the law, and it always is. So get together and do it. Make a scene, break boundaries, lead by example. Invent the future as you go. After all, you may well need to start rehearsing for the end of the nation state, and when the tribal loyalty and mutual trust and collective vision are not a curiosity, but rather what your survival becomes hinged on, well, that's all UltraCulture is. You and your friends, armed with the certainty that comes with knowing that you are God, all of them, in fact, among all of them. Here to play, here to create, along with everybody else. Everybody else who just happened to be God too, conspiring to make the best of all possible universes. That's my truth. That's what I'm offering you, along with a suitcase full of toys. And if you take it, I will leave you with that question again. What are you doing? And what are you going to do next? Enjoy yourselves out there. It's a big, wide, bizarre playground of a planet. And this party ain't over yet. Oh no. Not by a long shot. That was the introduction to UltraCulture Journal. If you liked this video, like and subscribe, and I'll keep reading more of it. You keep following this video series where I'm reading some more introductions so that you can vote on which one you think would be the best first book on tape for our channel. I love you all. Love is the law. Hare Krishna. Godspeed into the DEA and FBI getting ready to disappear me to silence that last investigation in our previous podcast series. Just know that Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself and I'm not suicidal. Thanks very much, everyone. Tune in again soon. Bye.